said, before we start the shiur, we had some questions, right? People ask. Okay, go ahead, ask. Nothing to be shy about. You said you overthought. You saw, not you in general, but you got a offer to go out with someone, but you overthought it, and I am ready, I'm not ready. Karachi and avar zmano, opportunity has passed, right? So we came to. I'm saying that to overthink is causing issues. People shouldn't overthink. It's like people that go for an exam, right? Usually, all exams are very easy. When do you fail? When you overthink. Right. You create answers and you're creating a new question that doesn't exist. That's not the question. Why are you thinking about it that way? Oh, because maybe. No, maybe. There's the question. Understand why they're asking you the question and seek the closest answer. So what do? We bring tirutzim, we bring excuses and answers to what fits our narrative. What fits my narrative? That's an issue. And the majority of problems in Shalom Bayit has nothing to do with finances. Nothing. I deal with this on a day-to-day basis. Finances is the least of the issue. They blame it all on money, but it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with a lot of baggage, emotional issues, which is not a problem. You just have to know how to deal with it. It's not a problem. Everyone has it. Regardless how you're raised, I want you to understand something. If you were raised entitled, or if you were raised the exact opposite, unfortunately, as we say, you're coming to the relationship with a baggage. And in your mind, I'm such a miskin, I was so abused, I was so this, I was so that, and so on and so forth, and not knowing that it's the same thing. Everyone has something to work on. And usually, Kodesh Baruch Hu matches you with a spouse that can guide you and help you, both male or female, or whatever your pronouns are. Right? That's a joke, I don't believe it. It doesn't make a difference. You're here, you can put the switch on. Yeah, you're here. If you're too cold, I'll close it. Just you're here to figure it out. It's so dumb of people. Like, they come with these expectations. Rabbi always said expectations kill the cat. He always used to tell me that. I never understood it. It's not expecting. Stop it. You have to do what you can do. You have to be open-minded, right? You hopefully want to get married, right? You have to be open-minded. You have to come to a conclusion. The way you're acting now, this should continue, but it's not. Can I pop your bubble? Can I tell you the reality of life? It's not. Because what happens is feelings go down and now work comes into place, and that's working on each other, and things that you don't like that you kept inside start to come out. And it depends how you formulate your thoughts to create that safe space, as they say, right? Whatever that means. Again, I don't believe in all these new terminologies, but I'm going to use it for the right. A safe space means, how I said last week, when you talk to your spouse, or when he or she points out certain things, it shouldn't be, oh, now I have to defend myself. No, now I'm going to fight back through defending. No. This is not a tag. We're not playing tag. There's no defending. There's, okay, how do we fix it? How do we fix it? You have to acknowledge, you guys are not perfect. You're not. You guys will create a perfectness, but you guys are not perfect. That's what it comes down to. Go ask.
So, you have, let's say somebody is ready to be married, ready. And have all these subcategories: financial, college, emotional, mental. I feel like that, you brought up the test scenario where you're going to a test and you're double doubting yourself. That would be similar to a 9th grader going into a 12th grade calculus class and taking a test, because he has all of these things he's not prepared for.
So I'll answer you. Yeah. You have to be prepared for one thing in marriage. There's just one thing. Only one thing. Everything else is just bubbles. You have to be open-minded. That's all you need. You have to expect not to expect anything. That's basically what it is. When you go into a marriage like a sponge, automatically you're ready for anything that comes your way. But if you come, that's why I'm very, very much against people that unfortunately they get married very late. Why? Because they're already set in stone their way of life. You just, no matter what you're gonna tell me, I don't care what you're telling me. You're somewhat set in stone. And then you get married, and then you try to mold her or mold him into your way. It's very difficult. And then they don't live. They could live happy. Don't get me wrong, but majority don't live so happy that way. They settle. You don't need to settle when you get married. When you're young, you both are stupid, and that's the gift. That's a good thing. Because when you're both stupid, you both decide to do things together. When you do it together, you mold each other. You put yourselves into that puzzle.
I think not.
You think the opposite.
Do it together?
Yeah, you do it together.
Two immature, young, stupid, as you said, people coming into a relationship, a long lifetime relationship.
Yeah.
If they will come in with their own ideologies, because they're not so mature, they would want to stick to their ideology.
No, when you're less mature, you're more easy to change your mind. Like a child. The more you get mature, whatever maturity means, but the more you're stable in your way, the less you want to mold yourself into another way, because this is who I am. I finish college, I go to work, I have my hours, I have my friends, I chill at these days, like, oh, now you have to get married, and you have to devote your time to your husband or to your wife, and you have to cut down. But I don't want to. I'm already living good. I have my ways set. But when you're still immature, you're like, okay, I'll change this, I'll change that. Blah, 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 blah. The old schoolers don't like to hear this. Why? Majority of their relationships are not. They're not as. They're formulated, they're structured different than this generation. There's no is it good or is it bad. This is the reality. This is just the way it is. What does that mean? In the old generation, they were happy to settle. In a sense, they were happy, you made money, I made money, we want to have a house, we want to have a thing. I know something's wrong with him, that's his problem, something's wrong with me, that's my problem. We'll fight about it, we'll scream, we'll say the word divorce 1,000 times, but we'll never get divorced. Our kids will grow up in a mentally abused house. And it's okay, they'll deal with it. Our parents, we dealt with it, so they'll deal with it, and so on and so forth. This generation is a bit different. This generation, we're saying, we want less of mental abuse. We want to be happy. We want to come home to security and comfort mentally. The truth is that's what really Mashiach is. People don't understand. What is this Mashiach guy? He's going to come and what is he going to do? We're not going to work anymore? Yes, you are. You're going to have a mortgage. You're going to have to go grocery shopping. You're going to have to send your kids to yeshiva. Everything is the same. What's the difference? It's not anymore about me. It's having that mentally understanding, I want to have a good life. Back in the day, it wasn't like that. Everyone had a responsibility, they had a duty, and that's it. End of the story. But we're going back in time. We're going back to before the sin of Adam Rishon, to understanding of having this harmony, having this equality. Equality doesn't mean if the man can work, the woman can work. That's not equality. Equality means I, as a man, have to do 100% what I can do, and as a woman, I can do 100% of what I can do. But if I want to start acting like the woman's going to start acting like the man, that's retarded. Then what's the point? What are you doing? It's counterintuitive. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Because for me to try to learn her, to be her, is so time consuming and so stupid, I'm not built for it. It's like my wife giving birth and said, I also want to be a woman. I'm going to breastfeed. What are you breastfeeding to a boy? Milk? What are you doing? I'm going to take hormonic pills that's going to give me a... What an idiot. Let's call him an idiot. There is a concept in the Gemara that men also produce milk and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into that. That's just whatever it is. It's rare. It happens. But why should I want that? Why? It's idiotic. Same thing too in a relationship. What's the problem with respecting each other? What's the problem with compromising with each other? The ego, it's all ego. What it is, the wayside, it needs to be worked, and I promised you. I'm telling you this from my own experience. Married over a decade. I got married very young. Very young. The older I got, the more I realized it's not about me, it's about her. The more she grew and she said it's not about her, it's about me. And we focused on marriage, on each other, and we grew it to a harmonic kind of environment. Yes, arguments happen and stuff, but these arguments they're not personal. They're not personal. It's not, oh, your mother's like that, you're like that. No, none of that. No personal, no emotions. Responsibilities, we have to consider each other's responsibilities, our feelings, and move weiter. There's no blaming. When the blaming game comes, it's not a marriage. That's a repeat of hundreds of years of trauma. I'm a very big advocate of psychology, going to psychologists. I'm a very big advocate. I believe in it. I believe in finding the right one. I believe in it. If you're not comfortable with going to a shrink, as they say, then you go to a rabbi. That's normal. Finding those are also very rare. Whatever the case is, that's what I believe. I feel it's very, very important. It helps. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I need help. I'm gonna go get help. Nothing wrong. That's what it says. On Sunday was Aaron Cohen's Yortzeit. Why did everyone love Aaron Cohen? He was loved more than Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? I'm assuming you guys know who Aaron Cohen is, right? You guys went to some yeshiva, okay, fine. So, Aaron Cohen, he was loved. What does it say about him? Ohev Shalom, Verodef Shalom. He loved peace and he always ran after peace. What does that mean? So there's a couple of Hasidic commentaries that said he was a psychologist. He used to run to people's houses and make Shalom Bayit with everyone. Oh, he's arguing. Nah, he didn't mean it. He used to even lie in the way. He didn't mean it. This one didn't mean it. They used to come meet each other. Oh, we're sorry. The guy just needed to hear, that he didn't mean it. Same thing. I see this all the time in marriages. It's so beautiful. The husband talks to me about something. The wife talks to me about something. The next 5 seconds they come, I say, oh, he didn't mean it. She didn't mean it. Automatically, what happens? I didn't really start. What already happens? They're back together like it never happened. It's all a mental game. It's recording, but I didn't start the shiur. I didn't start. These are the questions. Okay, Rabbi say, you ready to start?
Not yet.
Who am I waiting for? Me.
John.
Already recording.
Ready.
Okay, my Rabbi side. Men will be men. Okay, too much cologne. Phew. That's a still table.
Why would you blame me?
Shh. You left the bar mitzvah for a shiur Torah. I'm impressed.
Of course.
I'm impressed.
Giants in the staircase.
You need to keep up?
Yeah, I'm gonna go off my car.
Hurry up because I want to start. I didn't really start. This was an introduction. Before I start, his cologne is in my mouth. Phew.
You'll deal with it, Rabbi. You'll deal with it.
Yes, Elias responsible.
You'll deal with it.
You know those real thick men, they like to put that heavy, spicy cologne? Not just steal that. Okay, the wait side, let's go. Shh.
Oh my God.
You are
Rabbi side, here.
Done. Yeah.
Here.
Oh, perfect.
Let's go. Before I start, welcome to another Tuesday night shiur, everyone. Does anyone have any questions? We start with the questions. Does anyone have any questions? No dating stuff. Lamaisa questions. The dating is already going to be in the shiur as we go. Anything? Rabbi, say something.
Why 9 days?
Why 9 days? It's a good question.
Yeah, why don't we?
It's a good question. It's a good question.
shenanigans.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Like a pain.
We are right now in
We eat.
we are right now in 9 days
No, 18 days apparently as well.
between Rosh Chodesh Av and Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, and these are the days of mourning when Klal Yisrael, when the Jewish people, unfortunately, complain. You know, to complaining is the source of all evil. Because when you complain, automatically, what are you saying?
You don't believe in God.
Exactly.
It's bullshit. It's simple.
So then why you made that face?
Wait, so why does that
Listen,
say that?
listen. When a person complains, automatically, what does he feel? That he has control.
Why? You just feel the feeling.
No, if you complain over nothing.
You're not listening. Even over something, you're wrong.
Why give a legitimate reason?
No. Because in your eyes, it looks legitimate. But in the eyes of the world, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have no reason to complain.
It's about like workers, like
Hey, even
your
that?
bosses.
Even that?
So you're never supposed to be not
Never in your life
No,
are
don't
you.
complain. I'm saying you could deal with it.
Never in your life are you. Never. I'm going to repeat it until you guys stop talking. Never in your life are you allowed to complain. Now, am I going to say I never complain? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not an angel. Not even an angel. I'm not whatever. It's something you need to. It's something you need to work on. But what is the reason of complaining? When a person complains, he's actually saying, "I'm in control. I messed up. It's my fault." Those reasons can all be correct, but you have to understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted you to go through this right now. For example, can I give you an example? You had a good job, right? I'm not going to say exactly where you used to work. Closed down, you can't work there right now. Came the summer, you found a good job too. I don't know if this is a better job. I don't know if this is a worse job, but I know it's a safer job for sure, right?
Bitch.
And you'll get better pay, right? You don't have to be shy. You can say yes.
Yeah.
Do you regret what happened to your first job then? No. At the moment, it might bother you. It hurt you. How come? I don't deserve it. What did I do wrong? I'm Shomer HaBrit. I'm going to daven. Why did I deserve this? Hashem said, patience, my son. I run the world. You don't run the world. I'm going to explain to you why. 2 months later, you found a better job. We don't see the big picture. We don't. We'll never see the big picture because we're living in the moment. I'm living this second. Can I see what's going to happen 30 seconds from now? No, absolutely not. I can't even see what's going to happen the next second from now. So what do I have to do? I have to put my trust in. If you have no problem putting your trust on a pilot that you never met, that you don't know, on a taxi driver or an Uber driver that you don't know, no problem whatsoever. You put your trust in him, right? You can't put your trust on that. That's actually, he's the pilot of your life. Him, you have no problem. The Indus or the Arab that's saying Allahu Akbar that wants to blow you up to smithereens to drive you, and the Uber driver or to pick up your food, God knows what he puts in there. No problem. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu that controls the world, that created you, you have a problem? What a fool. You're fooling yourself.
So really, why do you believe you're right? Why does that happen?
Because we have something called the
What does that do you tell them?
the klipa of the nachash in us. We have the klipa of the nachash. What is klipa of the nachash? When the snake convinced Chava, which was not so difficult to convince, but that we'll talk about a different time. When he convinced Chava, the first female on the earth that we know, that the Torah says, the first female, he instilled in her a poisoned of something called mavet, death. But we got redeemed from that. How? When we left Mitzrayim, right when we left Mitzrayim, we got redeemed. Death was no more. How did we get it back? What's the first thing the Jews did collectively in a whole?
Right.
The sin. Eil HaZahav. We had the golden calf this week. Moshe says to the Jews, why did you do the golden calf? Imagine you're getting married, Rahman Etzan, not on you, not on anyone. You're getting married, right? And your girlfriend wants to have a bachelor's party. Right? It's not bad, just a bunch of friends. We're gonna drink a little. I heard these days now girls already smoke pot. We're gonna smoke together. So that's not so bad. No, that's again, I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not. Each one to their own. Of course, I'm saying it's not good, but whatever. We're gonna smoke a little bit. It's gonna be fine. And suddenly, one friend decides to bring who? A male stripper, and you don't know about it. And suddenly, unfortunately, you guys are high, you guys got drunk. I'm not saying you, I'm saying in general. And you find out a week before the wedding, she decided to go on a joyride to do shtuyot. Would you still get married? That's the question. Would you still get married? I think.
Not to her.
I think.
Right?
Even likewise, the other way around. The guy went on a party and he did shtuyot. I know that wedding would be broken off. The Jews got out of Mitzrayim. Moshe Rabbeinu went. He went to get the Torah from Matan Torah. They miscalculated by 6 hours and they built the golden calf.
How did people do that fast?
They built the golden calf in 6 hours. And what happened? How is it that the God that took you out of Egypt, He destroyed all your enemies, you spat in His face, and you went to worship something else?
Yeah, but that's what they were thinking, right?
I was going to ask you about that.
Can you wait? I want this verse to sink in. I want this concept to sink in. Did God throw us away?
He was gonna.
Did He throw us away?
He did it.
He didn't.
After that moment.
He didn't throw us away, right?
Or maybe their intention was pure, though, no?
Their intention was pure. No, their intention was from the Erev Rav.
Yeah, Rob.
But I'm saying,
I heard their intention was pure. I heard that.
Her intention is pure. She's practicing for you.
no, you can't say that.
Why can't you say that? Why not? Oh, because it hurts you, right? It hurts you, right? Okay, let's get back to reality.
No, because
the reality is they did a sin, and we're paying for it. But that payment is coming in.
But
It's
there was a
finishing.
reason they had to
It's finished.
There's no way they
Finishing.
do something wrong. There's a
Because
the top.
But they still did something wrong.
Yeah, but Rabbi, they didn't want
Obviously, their intentions
But
were
they
not
thought about it.
pure.
Yeah, Rabbi, they thought they
Yeah,
did.
You're right. They thought about it. You also think about it, and you still fall, right?
Well,
You still fall after Yom Kippur when you're at
Well, they
Tzaddik
made it.
Amor, right? Shh. You're at Tzaddik Amor right after Yom Kippur, right? Do you still sin after?
At least a different case.
You understand?
That was different.
Let me say something. You understand? Same thing. Why am I telling you all this? I'm going to explain to you why I'm telling you all this. In this week's parasha, we're living current events. Hashem says, Moshe says to the Jewish people, I'm dying. This is his last speech. Sefer Dvarim was a speech. He said, I'm dying. I'm finished. I'm right now going bye-bye. I'm going bye-bye and you're going into Eretz Israel. Yoshua is going to take you in. But I want you to remember something. The greatest downfall of a person is when he builds a negative framework to himself. If you would know how powerful your thought is, you would only think positivity. They made a study. They took couples that were on the verge of getting divorced. And for a week, they told the one that wanted to get divorced, for an hour, just in your brain, Say to yourself how much you love your husband or how much you love your wife.
1 hour straight.
Think about it. This is your mission for this next week. At the end of that week, no one wanted to get divorced. Hashem says in this week's parasha, Perek Gimel Pasuk Bet, Vayomer Adonai Elai, and God told me, Al tira, do not fear. Do not fear. Ki biyadcha natati, because I'm giving them to you in your hands. I'm giving you them in your hands. The Yenuka says, he says, the only way the Jews will win this war now that they're going through is through one thing. Not how much missiles they have, not how much guns they have. One thing, you can't be afraid. When you go in with fear, automatically you are going to lose.
In anything?
You're going to, in anything. Yoshua, when he went to fight in the eye, when they went to spy on the enemy camps, they had much more soldiers. They in their camps were already saying how they had dreams, how we're going to lose. The Israelites are coming. And Yoshua said, we won this war. We don't even need to fight hard. He went back and he devoured them. Why? Because warfare is all a mental game. It's all in the head. The time of Gidon, the time of the Shoftim, when he went to fight against the 3 major countries that were affecting the Jewish people, he came with 24,000 soldiers. Hashem said, you don't need 24,000 soldiers. Test which one is real, which one is fake. He ended up with 300 soldiers. You hear what I'm telling you? They had 24,000. He went down to 300 soldiers, and he defeated those 3 armies. Why? Because when you go in without fear, when you go in with a positivity, automatically you will win. It's a mental game. So too when you get married, so too when you do anything in life. If you're going in, if you get into an argument, if you get to a certain uncomfortability, and you tell yourself, we're going to go through it. We'll make it. We'll make it out. This is okay. This is just a challenge that's stopping us in the way. We'll figure it out. You know what's going to happen? We'll figure it out. But when someone already starts to flake, I don't know, what should I do? Starts to be paranoid, OCD, Deonigi, all these things. What happens? It doesn't work out. You just have to drag that person. That marriage is just going to be a drag along. You're going to be that person's crutches for the rest of the life. No one wants that kind of relationship. You have to build it. I'm not saying it's easy. It's something you have to build from within. What happens when you build it from within? What happens? Automatically, you build yourself a certain confidence. That confidence, if you don't correlate it and relate it with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's a problem. It's a huge problem. You have to understand one major thing. Everything in your life is just a challenge for the next step. Everything in your life is a mental game. That's what it is. Am I going to pass it, surpass the challenge, or am I going to flunk?
Why do we get so anxious whenever something comes? We get so anxious, like, yo, we're doing this and that.
Give me an example.
I just say, you have to do a few things. You're running a business. You have to do this, that. Why do we get so anxious? Like you're saying, it's a new challenge. Why do, like, naturally as humans, we get anxious?
Because you have something called a nefesh behemit. You have an animal soul, which if you didn't have it, you would have no purpose on this earth. Your job is to take your animalistic characteristic traits and to turn them into godly. That's your job.
Just be calm and say,
Then to be calm. Everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything. From the beginning till the end, everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you don't believe it, how my Rebbe says, you're a kufar b'ikar. You don't believe in God. You're a kufar. You don't believe in a God.
you don't believe.
The worst. The Rambam says, if you believe in all the Torah, but you say, this halacha was made up. I don't believe in this one. You're a kofar b'ikar.
Yeah, we're good.
אין לך חלק לעולם הבא.
Rebbe, I hate when they say that though.
I don't care what you hate.
What I mean,
Fact!
it's like when they say,
The Torah doesn't run by your emotions.
yeah, but I'm saying, what does that mean? Because there's a lot of things when they say, oh, no halek olam haba, like you're not gonna get olam haba, but like, how about the other things within this world?
You'll have Gan Eden maybe, but you won't have Olam Haba. It's two different things.
Can you explain briefly? I know you like.
I'll tell you. Gan Eden is a gateway for souls. Olam Haba is getting resurrected on this world. This world is Olam Haba.
Saying we won't get resurrected.
Olam Hazeh, no? Just call it Olam Hazeh.
It's in this world right now. It's called Olam Hazeh. This world. Olam Haba means the next world. That next world is here. It's on this planet.
So when we go up, we go to Gan Eden or Olam Haba?
Oh, we don't go to Gan Eden. You're rushing. You're rushing. Oh, there is a life. There is a life after this life. But wait a second. I don't understand. Everyone thinks like chilling. You go online, you get judged. Olam Haba, I mean Gan Eden here. Gehinam doesn't go this way. It's a whole process.
No, obviously the purgatory, whatever, 12 months. I'm saying that's.
No, but he's saying what okay, when your court date is done, that's it, trial's done. Where do you go? Like let's say you go to Gan Eden or you go to Olam Haba?
Whatever that means.
There's no Olam Haba yet. Olam Haba is the world to come. That's in Tchiyat HaMetim, the resurrection of the dead.
So then we go to Gan Eden. So when someone completes his mission, he goes to Gan Eden?
If he completes his mission, he goes to Gan Eden.
Oh, we just learned Torah up there already?
It's a good question, and the answer is no.
Everyone has their own set of
Because everyone I hear, everyone tells me, yeah, you go up there,
Imagine,
you learn Torah.
imagine living the same life that you're living now, just with a greater clarity. You hear what I just told you?
That's Olam Haba. That's Gan Eden. Yeah, but yeah.
You didn't hop it. You didn't sink it.
I hopped. I just processed it quickly.
Living the same life, just with a greater clarity.
But what are you living up
What do you, why when you said we're just going to be learning Torah? Why did that bother you? Nothing wrong with you.
there? Yeah.
But why does that bother you? You know why that bothers you? Because right now you don't see the importance. You don't see the value of it even. For you, it's like, you're gonna be learning.
No,
Imagine your feeling of how you want to make money, but in the next world, learning Torah. How are you gonna feel about that? You know why over there you're gonna want to learn whatever you're gonna learn, because over there, how I said, you can have more of a clarity. What's this clarity? You're gonna see what's really important.
but what are you learning up there for? Like I say, here you learn to actually.
Yes, it's such a beautiful question. Matok midvash, you ask. But we're going into different tangents now, Rabbi.
Let's do. Why not?
Okay, let's go. Lizro, right? Let's get into it, right? You definitely don't learn Masechet Baba Metzia, Baba Batra, Baba Kama. You don't learn that. Why? Because it doesn't pertain to Olam Haba. You don't learn about the monetary things. These things don't exist there. So what do you learn? Right? I'm gonna tell you,
Please.
but I don't know if you like the answer.
Whatever it is.
You're gonna learn what God is. I want us to think. There's two concepts. There's godliness, and then there is God. You know what I just told you?
Yeah.
Godliness is this world. Is how God perceives himself in this world. God himself, when you die, you don't see God. I want you to understand something.
You don't?
We never see that.
No. Never. In your life, I want you to know something. You will never, ever see God. Never. Get it through your head. God's not human. He's not a form.
You just feel his aura, like his presence, or.
You don't even feel his aura.
So you speak to him.
You don't speak to God. No.
The rabbi should joke there.
Matat kel. There's an angel called Matat.
Yeah.
He judges you. He's not God. Chas v'chalila. He's an angel.
Is that the story about the rabbis? They went upstairs, they saw him sitting, like.
No, that's something else. That's something the Maseh Merkava. They got confused. No, that was a different angel, but they thought that was God. That was the mistake. Only Rabbi Akiva said that's not, and that's what he stayed saying.
Is that true? Yeah, the one of them.
Okay, we're not gonna get into this right now. We're going into different tangents. We're learning about angels and stuff. I don't know why you get. That's not important.
No,
But in Olam Haba, we're gonna learn about God.
what exactly about God? If we don't see him, there's like, well, what about God? If we know how he is God.
So here's the. Does everyone know the big machloket between Manas Friedman and Rabbi Mizrahi? No one knows?
Who's the other Pope?
What?
The Pope and the Rabbi?
Oh, they call him the Pope. No, not the Pope. He's not a Pope.
The priest.
No. I'm not talking about it. You ever heard of it or their argument? No. Okay, so I'm not gonna.
Long story short.
I'm not gonna bring it up because
Mizrahi?
Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi is fighting with another rabbi. They're both right. The funny thing is they're both right, and they're both arguing about two different things. It's so funny. Once talking about Hashem and one's talking about the Ein Sof. I don't want to confuse you even more. It's two different things.
So it means no ending.
Ein Sof means the creator of all creations.
It means no ending.
Yeah, it means that's how
Technical.
that's how we call it the Ein Sof. Hashem is
Say
how we relate to God. I'm not gonna get into it. You guys are gonna get confused. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy in the head. I'm not crazy. Trust me, I'm far from crazy. You know what the difference is? I actually know. That's the difference. When you know and you get into conversation, automatically you don't get confused. The problem is when you don't know and someone explains it to you, you're lost. That's why I'm not going to tell you anything about it because you're so clueless about it.
Okay.
That's why I told you when you go up to another level, what happens to you? Right? You leave this world, you go to the next world. What happens over there? It says you enjoy from the Ziva Shechina, you enjoy from the presence of the Shechina, the very low level of godliness. Right? What are you enjoying there? What are we, sipping on a pina colada over there? Or what are you doing there? Or what does that mean? How much on crack you have to be to feel that kind of high? You're just being there. What does that mean? You don't get kaif just from being somewhere.
Sometimes when people go to basketball games or stuff like that.
You enjoy the ambiance. You enjoy the ambiance, but that's Olam Haba is actually seeing the presence.
Far greater, but
Gan Eden is actually seeing the presence of God.
Right.
You know why we don't want to do certain mitzvot? Because we have a blockage. I want you to understand something. If I take away that blockage from you, you're going to only want to be devoted to God. The reason why you don't feel that way is because you have a blockage. Now, that blockage is not bad. This is where everyone gets it wrong. That blockage allows you to develop into having a desire for it. If I would tell you, I take away the blockage, now you only have a desire for godliness, what does that make you?
Just devoted to Hashem. That's it.
A robot. Makes you have a pointless life. So God gave you something called a neshama behemit, an animalistic soul that gave you a certain urge.
It's a gift.
100%. But they don't teach it that way. Why? Why don't they teach that having certain desires is a
They
gift?
tell you, look, there's a consequence. And
You're right. There is a consequence. It's not a punishment. It's yes, but if someone would, I'll give you an example, right? There's a very big machloket. Should people have guns or shouldn't people have guns? Right? I don't know I'm not getting into the politics behind it. I'm telling you, if you have a licensed gun, very good. Why? Because the guy that wants to get a gun, right, and to kill someone, he's not going to get it licensed. He's going to get it illegally regardless. He doesn't need the license in order to get a gun. He can get it easily. So the guy that has the gun licensely, he knows between good and bad why I have it to defend myself. The guy that has it illegally, he doesn't care. He wants to take it to show it off to pop someone. Right? Same thing. When you know why you have a Yetzer Hara or why you have certain temptations, and I'm telling you, these temptations are good in order for you to overcome them. To teach you self-control, to teach you obedience, to teach you how to become a better human. Automatically, when you look at your challenges, it's not, why I have to go through this. It's, okay, this is helping me become a better person. But if all your life, I'm going to tell you, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. What are you going to look at all of your challenges in your life? Why I have it? I don't need it. Why I need this? God, why are you doing this to me? Automatically, you're defeating the purpose of why you got it in the first place. So every challenge you have is really a positive. Why? Because that's just making you stronger and stronger and stronger. But why? Because that's the way God wanted it to be. because you can handle certain challenges that no one else in this world can handle.
But I have a question. Why do you get punished when you fail the test?
You don't get punished. I'm going to give you an example.
What do you mean?
Okay, I'm going to give you an example.
You get judged for everything.
I'm going to give you an example. I have a fire, right? I take my hand and I wanna feel the fire. It looks nice. Ever saw hot coals? It's like glittery. It's nice. It's cool. It's something like it's tempting. And you touch it. What happens? You burn your hand. Is that a punishment? Did someone punish you?
No.
So what is that
You
called?
did it yourself?
It's called a consequence.
Okay, what if someone didn't know?
I'm gonna give you.
And you don't feel the burn right away. You feel the burn
Listen.
after 120 years.
Listen, you have a certain responsibility. You have a certain job to do. You have a certain power that no one else can do, only you can do. If I fail to do my responsibility, what's going to happen to me? No, I tell you what's going to happen. You ready for this? This is kind of scary, but this is the reality. Forcefully, it's going to happen that you're going to have to do good. How? If you don't do it through your deeds, they do it through your pain. For example, kid eats sugar. And if mom and dad says you're going to get cavity, he gets the cavity. They fix him up. But he's still a gadan takhta. He doesn't listen. He's stubborn. He eats more sugar. And they're going to say, you're going to get a root canal. I don't care.
Feels so good.
And they pull out his tooth at the end of the day, right? Who did that to that kid?
Yourself.
He did it to himself. That pain that he went through is the pain that he needed in order to fix that concept of not even eating.
Yeah, but if that's the case, all the
When
time,
you do a sin, and you're gonna have to pay din v'cheshbon. You're gonna have to answer for it.
Yeah,
Whatever that means. I don't want to get into the concept. What is hell? Is hell fire, not fire? How can it be fire?
But you know about
Shh,
it?
there's nothing physical there. There is physicality there. I'm not gonna get into that. There is a concept of punishment. There is. That punishment is gonna be your cleaning process. It's your cleaning process for the revealment that you didn't do. So why to go through all that when you can just do your job instead? Why not?
But Rebbe, let me ask you, what's the deciding?
God.
Yeah.
So that's why
Crazy question.
It's not hard.
Crazy question.
It's not hard.
It's
not hard.
That's what people think.
But it's not hard.
But Rebbe, let me ask
You know what it is? I heard you. I know you have a question.
Yeah, go.
You know why it's not hard? I tell you why it's not hard. Because it's all a mindset. It's all a mindset. If today for me something is hard, I'll give you an example, right? I know a woman. She's married. 5 years. Chiloniya, she doesn't want to cover her hair. Okay, each one to their own level, right? We have to be nice in this generation, that's what we say. Even though I don't believe in that either. And her mother got sick, and she decided overnight she's gonna cover her
Hair.
What happened? I thought it's hard. What happened? It's not hard. She just decided to make a choice today. It's not hard, it's all here. It's all in the head.
They become religious.
Do you understand? It's an excuse you build up to yourself in order to satisfy and to calm yourself down. But in reality, it was never hard to begin with. It was a choice you just didn't want to do. Very simple. Do you disagree?
You're right.
Go ahead. What was your question? Your infamous.
No, it's talking about a crazy question. What's it called? What was the question? Oh yeah, you know when you do certain things in this world, right? What decides whether you get punished in this world or the next? Like, what's the deciding
The
factor?
Gemara Masechet Yoma gets into that.
Yeah.
Masechet Sanhedrin gets into that. Different
You
categories.
would say like what?
Mitzvot aseh, mitzvot lo taseh, mitzvot kared, mitzvot.
There's like categories where if you do this you get punished, so if you do that you
There
get
are
punished.
different categories.
Oh yeah.
Different categories.
Oh, yeah.
But why are you so scared of the punishment?
So
that's
I just want to be covered.
No. You see, this is the wrong way of thinking. Unfortunately, I want to explain something to you. You're not wrong, because
Because if you hear all these
you're not
punishments,
wrong.
gonna get this,
You're not
gonna come
wrong.
back
You're
as
not
a
wrong,
girl,
because
you're gonna be a
Jews
plant.
fought like you for thousands of years. For thousands of years. The Baal Shem Tov came and said, let me change the heads of human beings. Instead of focusing on how much punishment we're going to get, let's focus on how much reward we're going to get.
Positive.
Right now is the Olympics, right?
God.
You know how much training and pain these people need to go through? Why do they do it?
Because the reward is so good.
Like that. They're looking at the reward. They're not looking at the pain in hand. The ones that think about the pain,
They're all not in.
they're like, this is not for me. I'm not going to pursue it. But you have a talent. Why don't you do it? The pain, I don't know. They embarrass that they get into the whole thing. The guys that are contestants, they're saying, I don't care. Look at that gold medal. Look how much commercial I can get. Look how much money I can make. How much sponsorship I can have. The next year I can get into it. Automatically, what happens? What happens automatically?
The mindset changes.
Over here changes. You know, that means the time of Mashiach. The time of Mashiach is one thing. It's nothing different. We're not flying on horses. There's not going to be any unicorns. There's not going to be houses flying and people going on eagles. None of this. This is all what they tell you in fairy tale land. You know what's going to be the difference? You're going to have a feeling of godliness.
So money will
You're going to have a feeling. No, it will play a role. But you know what the difference is going to be? Money is not going to be the ikar. It's not going to be the most important thing.
No, I agree.
You want to know why? No, you want to know why? Because the mindset of the avira, of the feeling of the world is going to change.
Rabbi, why do we have
Forever or just like, you know,
Forever.
Rabbi, why do we have money? Like, why is money the big? In a way, obviously, Torah is the most important. But I'm saying, in a way, everyone looks at you. If you have money, you're respected. You don't have money, they love. So I'm saying, why is the world like that?
I'm going to explain something to you.
It's true.
In the 1980s, first of all, whatever you're saying now is a recent thing. This is a 10-year kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm saying, why is
This
that?
happened in the last 10 years. I want you to understand something. Whatever you're saying now is only for the last 10 years it was like this.
I would say like that.
No, it's not. Before that wasn't the mindset of people. It wasn't. And you want to know something? It's changing. It's changing. The mindset of people, it's going back to the hippie land time. You're going to see in another 10 years, the mindset of people are changing. Because you're getting to you have to understand something. If you're working to live, then when you living? I don't want to bust your bubble. I hope all of you get very rich, very wealthy, in a very time-consuming manner. But here's the difference. If you're gonna waste the best years of your life to make money, in order for you to retire at your early 30s, late 40s, then what did you do in your 20s?
but isn't that the whole point? You're misunderstanding. You work now
Sacrifice.
hard, you sacrifice now like a dog, and then later on, when everyone's 30, 40, 50,
You're
working
married,
for
you
money,
get kids.
you're chilling. Because you mean to
Tuition,
sacrifice when you're
everything's
young.
paid
You know what the difference is? Can I explain to you what the
You just
difference
do
is?
my whole thing, bro. I had something going.
Can I ask you something? I'm gonna be a little personal. You ready?
Oh,
for.
no.
Shit, let me
No? No?
No, right.
Okay, I'm not gonna be personal. Theoretically. Theoretically, right? As a child, right? Would you say you would be more happy if your parents would be more involved in loving in your life or less involved in loving?
Obviously, everyone would say, yeah, love.
But what about sacrificing and paying their tuition and going on vacation and all this stuff?
Again. You're supposed to already. You
Well, you
said
didn't hear what I just told you. You didn't hear. You're trying to justify your tava with the reality.
What if they hustling early while you're growing up? You miss your childhood, right?
I want you missed the important years of your life with your family. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, who else is there? All these rich people,
Mark Zuckerberg.
all of them, they're all divorced.
No.
They're all divorced. They all got divorced.
He's never divorced.
Who?
Mark Zuckerberg. Elon Musk.
Elon Musk got divorced 3 times.
You know, his daughters are right?
All these rich people, Jeff Bezos, the richest people in the world, they all been divorced. Now, I'm not telling you, look at them as an example. Look, make money, be rich. I don't care. I want that for you guys. I do. But if it comes on the account of your wife and kids, you're digging a hole for yourself, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're substituting the time that you had to put in your family for money, that she really doesn't appreciate you.
She doesn't appreciate me.
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because everything in life has to be substituted. Everything in life has to be substituted. If the attention is not there, the money has to go in instead of the attention. That's the way it works in life. Unless she's a gold digger and she didn't care about you in the first place. And it's an even bigger question. Why the heck did you even marry her? Or why did she marry him? Whatever the case is. But if you don't need to make so much because you're investing more time and love and effort to this relationship, what happens automatically? You become more content. You become more settled. I promise you, at the end of the day, I guarantee it to you, no man really cares how big his house is and how fast his car is.
So true.
He doesn't give a damn. I promise it to you. You know what he cares? He has freedom of mind. He can come home and he's peace. His wife is not a BIC and you can continue. That's what he cares. He cares that his wife is not a nag. His wife's not every day, what's the vacation, the kids need this, or when the husband tries to discipline the kids, she gets involved. Don't do this, don't say this. So what happens in that house? The husband, of course, he has to shut her mouth. How? Here's money, here. So what is he doing? He's substituting his time that he had to invest, that he invested it where? Into the money. And he has to take all that money and give it back. And now you don't have money and you don't have happiness. So kakoi deonegi you did. You shot yourself in the head. For what? Now I'm not telling you not to work. Work and make money. But if it comes on the account of your family, it's not worth it. Now I don't care what you tell me. Because you guys are not married. You guys don't have kids. I have, Baruch Hashem, a wife and I have kids. And I understand you need to have this sense of balance. And if you're not going to have it, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're lying to yourself. You're lying only to yourself, Habibi. Why? Why are you doing this? All these fancy, beautiful things, they're only there because something is missing. But if the time and the love is content and spent right, she might have a desire for it, but her neediness for it will not be there.
But desire can cause neediness for everything.
Correct.
So
But what happens? She understands that I'm willing to sacrifice that diamond, but I have a normal relationship. Because I see my friend have that beautiful diamond, but she hates her husband's guts. Who wants to live that kind of life? I promise you don't want to live that kind of life. You don't want to live that life that your wife despises you, but she has everything. Because it's such a pointless life. It's like, what's the point?
The thing is, Rebbe, we always get accustomed to what we have already, right? And we don't see it as beauty. Like, let's just say you have a great relationship with your wife and a wife to a husband, whatever, both ways, right? To her, she doesn't feel, she's already normal. Oh, maybe now I want more. Maybe I want this. Maybe or the man reverse. I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get accustomed to it. So you don't really see that you really have a good relationship.
So that's why I said last week, a husband and wife, every single day, they have to spend at least 45 minutes together.
About anything.
Why? Because when you communicate, when you sit face to face with your spouse, when you have that communication, automatically all these feelings and doubts that you think she has or he has gets put on the table.
Clarity.
Exactly. So then what happens? You don't need to assume, or she doesn't need to assume. Why? Because the reality is you had that communication. That's what it is. Here's the bigger question. Where do I find one of these?
What?
Right? That's the main question. Rabbi, where do I find one of these kind of girls, right? Or where can I find one of these kind of guys that doesn't live in a bimbo land? Well, where can I find one of them, right? I'm looking for them. I'm going to answer you. Can I answer you?
Yeah, right, of course.
You attract who you really are.
What if you had different girls?
You're not listening.
No, I'm saying what if you were different?
You're not listening. You attract. Let's be a little bit mature.
No, it's not different.
I know what you're
Different
saying.
ones,
Listen,
like,
listen,
not everyone's the
listen. You attract who you really are.
How does that work?
If deep down you want to live that bowling lifestyle, and you go out with someone very simple, you yourself is not gonna want to. You're not gonna want to marry her at the end of the day, because you're gonna say, "I want that driven kind of human being. I want someone that's gonna take me, that's gonna make me," because that's what you're gonna seek. But if a guy goes and says, "You know, I really want someone that's chill, down to earth, just likes to have a good time, enjoy the moment of life, enjoy the process of living," automatically that's what he's gonna attract. It's how I said in the beginning of the shiur, everything is a mental game. Whatever you create over here, that's what you attract. Your mind is so powerful. It's such an absorb. It's such a sponge that at the end of the day, you get what you think. You get what you see. You get what you have in mind. You're creating that framework of life.
And we'll bring it to reality. We have power then.
You have the greatest power.
You're a superhero.
Well, look.
You have the greatest power. The problem is you don't believe in it. So you can see a guy that goes out, gets engaged, breaks up. Goes out, gets engaged, breaks up. And this happens constantly. You know when it stops? When he decides to actually be a man. Meaning, stop finding excuses why this can't work and find excuses why it could work. That's the way it works. It's continuous trauma, right? The way you were raised, kids that are raised in divorced parents' houses, kids that are raised in traumatic parents, abusive parents, right? They get married. They have their own family. You have a choice. Here's the choice. You ready? To continue this pattern or decide to say, I'm not going to continue this pattern. I'm going to learn to have balance in my life. But the choice is whose? It's yours. You can't say, oh, this is the only thing I know. No, it's not good enough anymore. Get up and learn a different way. Learn how to live a life a different way. Before I finish, I just want to say another thing in this week's parasha. I want to actually reiterate what we said, which is extremely important. Hashem says in the last pasuk in this week's parasha, Lo tira'um, do not be scared, do not fear, Ki Adonai Elohechem, because God, your God, Hashem, your God, Hu hanilcham lachem, because He is fighting for you. If we live with this pasuk, we have nothing to fear in our lives. When you can understand that it's not me, but it's all God, I just have to do my part. I just have to do my part in doing my hishtadlut, doing my how do you say hishtadlut?
My due diligence.
Yeah.
My due diligence.
My part. Do my
Okay,
part.
when I do my due diligence, my part, automatically Hashem is the one guiding me. That's what you have to remember. You have to remember it's not you. When you think it's you, that's when you fail. And I've seen it in so many people. It's not you. I'm just here to do my part as a human being. We have to live like that. We're gonna get out of this galut, and when we're gonna get out of it, hopefully we'll all be alive. You guys will feel not ashamed or embarrassed, but so in awe of, I followed the trend of stupidity. I cared to be not sanu, or I cared to run after money. I cared to not put on my tefillin or daven 3 times a day or wear my tzitzit. For what? Because it was another goy that created a trend for me to follow that doesn't care about me. When I have my own Torah, that Hashem, that we've been surviving in this world for over 3,500 years, I couldn't follow the plan of HaKadosh Baruch Hu because I cared for a trend. You'll be so embarrassed of yourself. Does anyone have any questions? No one? You do. You can ask.
I remember you saying something about the snake and Chava and how it was easy to convince her?
Correct.
And why do you say that?
Because let's look at the story. The story was that Chava said something that she shouldn't have said. She said to the snake, when I eat or touch from the tree, I will die. And the snake said, oh yeah? The snake knew that wasn't true. The snake knew she can touch the tree. So he pushed her. He said, oh, you didn't die. You know those guys when they go out, they're shomer nagia, suddenly they fake like they touch by mistake? Right? They touch in the cup holder, their phone, in the hand, and before you know it, they start to do shtiyot. You know those people? Same thing. Right? So she got convinced. It was very easy. Now, Adam Rishon, on the other hand, I don't want to get into the whole story if it was supposed to, first of all, everything was supposed to be the way it is. We have to understand something. The Torah talks to us b'derech mashal. It's not a storybook. The Torah is not a storybook. It didn't come to teach us stories. We don't care about stories. There's a certain revealment that God wanted in this world, and He brought that revealment through letters. And when you configure those letters, it came out to the Torah. It happens to be, it also says a beautiful story. Adam Rishon knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. That's the scary part. The scary part is when we sin, we know what we're doing. But what do we tell ourselves in the back of our
It's
head?
fine.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yeah, I saw him call me the other day. Rabbi, I got my girlfriend pregnant. I said, what's wrong with you? He said, listen, Rabbi, I had the thing in my hand to prevent it. I said, Tanug, I'm not gonna feel the same. He was giving me a whole shot. He was giving me a whole ring around the rosy. He said, nah, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna pull out. She's not gonna get pregnant.
Yeah, but that would have been a whole nother baby.
What do you mean whole other
You
baby?
can't wear everything.
You can't be with the girlfriend to begin
It doesn't
with.
make a difference. It's like, there was a story that a guy one time went to Rav Levi Yitzchak Mibarditchev and said, I slept with someone. And Rav Levi Yitzchak said, okay. He said, I need a tikkun. I need how to fix this. He said, but Rabbi, you don't have to give me such a hard tikkun. Why? Because I made sure she dipped in the mikvah before.
You know he said this.
Rav Levi Yitzchak Mibarditchev, you know what he said? Get out of here! Get out! Not only did you do the sin, you had enough time to think how not to fall into such a deep way. I understand you had a tava, you were fire, you were hot, you just said I have to devour, and you sinned. But you made sure to have enough time that she should dip in the mikvah before doing the sin. Get out of here. Get out. At the end, he went to the altar with the Shner Zalman Milad, the first Lubavitch Rebbe. He went to him and he gave him a tikkun. But to say what you said, this is more of a sin, less of a sin. When someone is when someone can start thinking if you should do the sin or not, that's a problem. That's a problem, because that means you had enough self-awareness if you should do it or if you should not.
So don't think.
What happens? Where does
Don't do it.
don't think? Correct. Don't think. You can do that. You cannot think. It won't be any different than how you're living your life now. But don't think, or think, and don't repeat the same life that you unfortunately had. So a person has to be smart enough. A person has to be smart enough to understand that as a human being, I have to do what's right. I have to know what to do is right. And I'm going to finish with this. Even though Chava, you better clean all that up. Even though Chava, right, she sinned, and she ate from the Eitz Hadat, and she caused Adam Rishon to eat it, the ones that will take us out of this exile are the women, not the men. It's the woman, not the man.
Why are they?
I'm going to explain to you why. I'm going to explain to you why.
No, holy something, holy ones.
I know what he's trying to say. He just said it in a very wrong way, but I'm going to explain to you why. The truth is, a man, what he really wants is to please his wife. If he can't get his wife to be pleased, then he starts to want to please his friends. If he can't start pleasing his friends, then he wants to please his co-workers. It all is because his wife wasn't satisfied with him. Both. Emotionally, physically, and mentally. When a woman knows how to tame her husband, automatically what happens? She's actually saving him from doing so many averot. But if a woman decides that I want to, by purpose, I want to give him Gehinnom a little bit. Let him feel what it is to have a bad wife. I know a woman like that. Why? I'm always so good. Let me give him a little hell. Let him appreciate me. You know what good's gonna come out of that?
Nothing.
Nothing. You know what's gonna happen? More fights, more balagan, more trauma. Because it's not about you or about him. It's about us. It's about we. That's what it's about. That's what marriage is. It's about you unifying. Everyone has problems. You're not marrying some angel. Trust me, you don't want to marry some angel. Your life is going to be so boring, you're going to want to hang yourself the next day. You need it, a little conflict. But that conflict can be personal. It has to be growth-oriented. You know, when you're going into marriage, you're doing it together. We're growth-oriented. I remember when I just got married, my wife took me to the Yichud room. The Yichud room is a private room where the couple go. It wasn't really locked because Faradim can't be in there. If she does come out, she has to cover her hair. Whatever the case was, she took out 3 pages. 3 pages that she wrote with her hand. She said that we have to bless each other now. Not like this fake that we hold hands under the chuppah for a picture. Close the door, and we read these 3 pages together. And until today, I asked her, do you know where those 3 pages are? I want to laminate it because it was amazing.
Hebrew, the prayer?
It was in English. She wrote it. She prayed for everything. For health, for her kids, for our relationship. Everything was in those 3 papers. She just shoved it in. She wrote it. After we finished reading it, we left. That's called someone that had a concern, had prioritized family before personal. Because it's not just about me, it's about us.
It's a team.
So when you say it sounds so beautiful,
Because it is beautiful. You want to know why? Because it's something that we built together. I didn't have a perfect marriage in the beginning of my life. I'm not going to lie to you. One thing, I'm not going to lie to you. Very rough marriage in the beginning. Very rough.
Yeah.
It took us years in order to understand how to compromise, how to learn, how to understand each other, how to talk out our feelings and our emotions and everything. It took time, but we made sure not to give up. We made sure, how the goyim say, unfortunately, but to death do us part. There is no somebody else.
but I'm saying once you're in a marriage, is there a point where you say you have to give up, or there's no such thing?
No, because if I'm giving up, that means you're settling. There's no settling in a marriage. There's compromise. There's understanding. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes
You're
maybe.
always right. No, you don't want to be right.
No, you know who likes to hear this? A stupid woman. Because a real woman knows that's not true. It's just the reality of life. I don't care if girls like that I say this or not. I say it to their face. It's not true. It's not. Because at the end of the day, a normal woman wants to throw her troubles to a man, to someone that's going to take care of it. You have enough on your plate. You have kids. You have so much on your plate. You also want the responsibility of making such decisions. Give it to him. Let him do it. But if you're breaking your head also on that, I never understood that. My wife always says, thank God I just throw it on you. I know. I don't know. I don't go. Everything my husband's fault. He didn't want to go. Everything him. She said, such a good life. I have now to give Dina Vecheshbon, explain to people why I did my decision. I don't know. My husband decided, leave me alone. Gushtish. I don't know anything. Finish.
Easy.
Done. But you know why that came to a conclusion? Because my decisions are not made because that's what I want. My decisions are made because this is what's good for the family. This is what's good for her and for me. People don't understand this.
Yeah.
For some people, this is weird, but that's not weird. That's called being a leader. That's called being a real alpha. Putting the concerns or the responsibility or the choices, the needs of her before my own. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's very important. Go ahead.
What if the husband and wife disagree on something, and the husband says, listen, this is what's best for the family. I know this is what's best for the family, but the wife thinks that this is what's best for him in his eyes. It's the best for the family, but really best for him.
What makes the conclusion that you think that it's only best for him and not for the family?
The wife doesn't believe or should be happy with this decision.
That's something the wife has to know how to take on go on a ride with. Now again, this is where it's not a conflict, but this is where these questions get serious. The husband also has to be an open-minded person. He can't be a dafuk. He can't be an idiot. Meaning, to come to this conclusion that the man makes the decisions for the benefit of the family, that trust that the woman is willing to give to the man is only once the woman sees that his decisions are made for the best of both parties.
She has to see that.
No woman in the right mind is ever going to say, you do all the decisions, Habibi, I'm out of the picture. You know when they say that? When they feel and when they earn the trust that the man is really doing the decisions for the family. This is very important. That means once that trust is established, now not everything you're going to agree with. This is the reality of life. And you know what? Not everything you have to agree with. But you have to know how to trust. But that doesn't come right away. That takes
Time.
Thank you. That takes time. That takes emotional support, physical support. Now, if they both have a baggage, right? Everyone comes with a certain luggage to the marriage or to the relationship. And she doesn't feel, or he doesn't feel, that they can let loose, that relationship is still not perfect.
What do you mean by let loose though?
I can say anything to this person, I know it's not going to fire back at me.
Yeah.
I can say something to this person, and I know this person will only have my benefit. But if I'm going to say something and tomorrow she's going to say, oh, look at you! Oh, remember? Those kind of people need a bullet in their forehead. Straight up. Why? Because what you're actually doing is causing a bigger pit for your relationship. Because now you made sure that he will never trust you. You allowed that to happen. Why? Because he entrusted you with something so valuable to him, and you just abused it. And it's vice versa. It's vice versa. I'm just using that as an example. It's vice versa. A girl can't say to the guy, you know, I'm being more tzanua, I want to be more tzanua, but I grew up in a family that this wasn't important, so on and so on. When he's upset at her, he says, oh, I vote shalava. Well, you know what you just did? You know what you just did?
Put it down.
You broke the whole marriage. The whole thing is done. Now you have to start from ground zero. You have to assure her and reassure her that you're never going to say it again, and that you value her, and that all this yet kisad, and it is yet kisad. Why? Because you messed up. You messed up.
You saying if a guy called her that?
If yeah.
Oh.
First of all, who gives anyone the right to call names to the other person? There's no right.
No,
There's no right whatsoever. Absolutely not. There's no right. It doesn't exist. Mutual respect, understanding, growth. You understand? If there is a topic that you feel uncomfortable, there needs to be a sense of conversation, understanding why yes, why no, how come this, how come that, and if it gets to a point that the decision can be made, you need to bring a third party to make that decision. But that only works on one condition. On one condition, that third party, whatever he or she says,
You both listen?
is final. Is final. And that happened to me many times.
We're going to
When me and my wife got into certain arguments and we couldn't make a decision, we went to my Rebbe, without telling him who said what, he made a decision. Why? Because he's not going to take my side or her side. He took the side, whatever's best for that moment. That's why it's also very important to find that right third party. Because if you find a third party that only does good for her, or only that does good for him, that's not no third party, that's kisa. You need someone that's logical enough to not have emotions at that moment and say, we have to make a decision based on the playing field. And unfortunately, there aren't too many like those. Unfortunately.
I would become like
They're
that.
a dying breed. There are very few rabbis like that. Very few.
It's all about the kiss.
You said it, I Any other questions? One more? Are you done? Okay. Anything? You have something to say? Anything?
Mind is about.
Okay.
Thank you, Rav Asher Gadaev.